Around you, there are always protective deities. Black crystal. Greetings to all of you. Did you know? There are people who, from the moment they are born, are protected by heaven and earth. The divine will not let you see that around them, there are always many invisible protective deities. These protective deities are invaluable beings. They protect you not because of wealth or status, but because of your virtues and moral character. These deities are always silently by your side because of your good character and moral integrity, which is why they choose to protect you. Wherever you go, as long as your heart is filled with kindness and righteousness, these protective deities will follow you closely and surround you. Even when you face overwhelming difficulties, their presence alone can turn danger into safety, helping you escape harm. Therefore, treat yourself well, cultivate your virtues, and refine your character. When you do so, the protective deities will naturally appear by your side, bringing you protection and abundant blessings. Those who follow Buddhism have all heard of protective deities. But do you know what protective deities do? And how can you know if there are protective deities around you? It's actually very simple. When you do evil or harbor evil thoughts, something will always flash in your mind, reminding you that you cannot do this. Because you are a Buddhist, and there are protective deities watching over you, there are Buddhas and Bodhisattvas observing you. This is the protective deity reminding you. When you face difficulties, you will remember the blessings of the Buddha, Bodhisattvas, Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva, Amitabha Buddha, and all the practices you usually follow. These are the blessings from the protective deities and the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. However, they will not let you see them because, first, they fear you will become dependent, second, your practice has not yet reached that level, and third, they are not in the same realm as you. Even if they stand right in front of you, as ordinary humans, we cannot see them. Just believe that the protective deities are always by our side. From the moment we are born, we are surrounded by protective deities. Even a child who has not yet developed goodness will still be protected by protective deities. The cry of a newborn is a miraculous sound that can bring joy to the deities, celebrating the birth of humanity and granting each individual a covenant. In the eyes of angels and protective deities, being born as a human is a precious process of cultivation. Newborns often clench their fists with their thumbs inside their palms. This is the seal of closing the gate. When a child is born, the gate at the top of their head is opened. Therefore, do not let children go out at night, as their heavenly eye is still open. In the subconscious of children, everything before the age of 3 is recorded, but because their consciousness is still weak, many memories will gradually fade as they grow up. The virtuous roots of each person are like a blue lotus. Those with great merit will have a fresh and tall blue lotus. Deities do not need to be invited, they will come to protect. If a person has great merit, when their time in the human realm comes to an end, the deities will take them away. This is why history does not mourn the passing of great virtuous beings. On the other hand, those with little merit will have a withered lotus, and the deities will not come to take them. Instead, the black and white, impermanence, will come. The passing of a person will be a wake-up call for the world. In the universe, there exists a source of energy. If you have merit, it will naturally attract many benevolent beings to protect you. They come to protect you and also accumulate merit from you. Not only will humans protect you, but even the heavens will protect you. When the Buddha appears in the world, thousands of protective deities will follow. According to the Aham Sutra, each person is born with spirits by their side. But the number varies. If you are a good person, you may have hundreds or even thousands of protective deities. If you are an evil person, you will still have protective deities, but perhaps only one for every few hundred or even 1,000 people. These protective deities are like the bodyguards of a president today. Wherever you go, they will follow. However, the number of protective deities can increase or decrease depending on your actions. When a person continuously does evil, the protective deities will gradually leave. Conversely, if a person always does good, the number of protective deities will increase. According to Buddhist teachings, each time a person observes the 5 precepts, they gain 5 protective deities. Therefore, those who fully observe the precepts will have at least 25 protective deities. Additionally, when you speak, protective deities are often around. If you speak nonsense, they will gradually leave. But if you speak about the Dharma, the protective deities will listen. If your words are meaningful, the protective deities will gather in greater numbers. It can be said that protective deities are always around us, both to protect and to supervise, and sometimes even to punish. This is the meaning of the saying, "Heaven has eyes." According to the Aham Sutra, the heavenly beings of the 4 heavenly kings will descend to the human realm on the 8th, 14th, 15th, 23rd, 29th, and 30th days of the lunar month to observe the good and evil deeds of humans. On the 8th and 23rd, the great deities are sent down to investigate. On the 14th and 29th, the crown prince is sent down. On the 15th and 30th, the heavenly king himself descends to inspect. After completing their tasks, they report back to the king of the heaven of the 33. There is a folk story that has been passed down. In the past, there was a very cruel woman. She hardly did any good deeds throughout her life. After she died, she was taken to hell and thrown into a sea of fire. But because her family had once worshipped a protective deity, this deity felt pity for her and wanted to help her a little. The protective deity went to the Bodhisattva and pleaded, "Bodhisattva, this devotee once picked up a string in a vegetable garden and gave it to a beggar." The Bodhisattva said, "All right, take that string and lower it next to the sea of fire so she can grab it. If you can pull her out of the sea of fire, I will let her ascend to heaven." The protective deity quickly ran to the woman, lowered the string, and told her to grab it so he could pull her up. When she was almost out of the sea of fire, other sinners tried to cling to the string to be saved. The woman immediately revealed her selfish nature, trying to kick the other sinners away and shouting, "This is my string, not yours." As soon as she said this, the string immediately broke, and the woman fell back into the sea of fire. The protective deity could only weep and leave. Later, people learned that the string could have saved many people from the sea of fire. The Bodhisattva wanted to use this opportunity to test whether the woman would repent. But she failed the test. This story reminds us that in life, we should not only think of ourselves and ignore others. When faced with challenges, a person's true nature will gradually be revealed. Many people are willing to help when it does not concern them. But when their personal interests are involved, they forget about others and only think of themselves. Such people, though they may have good intentions, will not pass the test. This story leads to the idea that a wicked heart can lead one to hell, where even a protective deity cannot save them. Good deeds bring good rewards, and evil deeds bring evil retribution. In fact, it is a reminder that if you help others, sooner or later, you will receive help in return. The cruel woman, because she did not repent, lost her chance to ascend to heaven. Therefore, in the human realm, we need to give unconditional love more often. Good and evil are separated by a single thought. A good thought can take us to heaven. A bad thought can send us to hell. To avoid falling into hell, always do good and avoid evil. Cultivation also has its conditions. In the past, people who entered temples had to dress properly. But nowadays, people often forget this. Especially women who dress inappropriately still enter temples. The ancients said that the karma of women is often heavier than that of men. This is not entirely unreasonable. On Mount Putuo, there is a story about a sister-in-law and her younger sister-in-law going to worship. At that time, transportation was not very convenient. A trip to Mount Putuo could take half a month. When the boat was about to arrive, the younger sister-in-law realized her menstrual period had started. Feeling unclean, she did not dare to go ashore. The sister-in-law laughed and said that she had too little merit to have the opportunity to worship the Buddha. The younger sister-in-law had to stay on the boat. At noon, a woman brought food to the boat for her, saying that the sister-in-law had asked her to bring it. In the evening, when the sister-in-law returned, she also brought food for her. The younger sister-in-law asked, "Didn't you send someone to bring me food earlier?" The sister-in-law was surprised and said she had not sent anyone. The two found it strange and went to the Guanyin temple to worship, where they found that a piece of the Bodhisattva's statue was missing. They realized that the Bodhisattva had manifested. This shows the reverence of the ancients for the Bodhisattva. When you have virtue, protective deities will naturally protect you. Today, people often favor feng shui to attract luck. This is even more common now, as there is no shortage of fortune tellers advertising lucky charms. And this is what the deities dislike the most. Virtue must be cultivated naturally, and blessings will naturally bring luck. Without blessings, no matter how good the charms are, they will be useless. In the universe, there is a predetermined law that no one can surpass. Accumulating blessings is the same. Do not try to exchange them for objects, you must act to receive them. If you do nothing but desire luck in your heart, you will not become a Buddha but a demon. Master Lianqi taught that merit should be hidden, so that karmic obstacles can be eliminated. Do not seek praise for doing a little merit. If merit is turned into the praise of others, it will be lost. The master said that keeping silent is the best way to protect merit. If good deeds are criticized by others, it is actually good, because the merit will be protected. On the other hand, if it is a mistake, it cannot be hidden. Mistakes are like rotten roots. If hidden, they will rot from within. They need to be exposed to the sunlight. When cultivating, do not advertise your merit. No matter how well you cultivate, do not boast about your merit. When you advertise it, your merit will decrease. If you do not boast, the protective deities will still know what you have done. When you first start cultivating, it is easy to doubt. You also worship, chant, and make offerings, but why do you not receive anything in return? Is it because the Bodhisattva does not bless you, or are there really no protective deities? In fact, it is not that the Bodhisattva does not bless you, nor that there are no protective deities, but because you have not yet accumulated enough virtue. If your words and actions are not in line, no one can help you. So what should you do? Start by improving yourself, diligently do good and accumulate virtue, and you will naturally receive the protection of benevolent deities without needing to worship every day. There are 3 types of protective deities. The first type is due to pre-existing karmic connections. The second type is due to karmic affinity. The third type is due to merit accumulated in this life. For example, some people encounter car accidents but are not seriously harmed because their ancestors accumulated merit. This is due to the protection of protective deities. Protective deities are guided by the merit and achievements of each person's cultivation. If a person has abundant merit from past lives, even if they fall, the protective deities will guide them to stay on the right path. If a person has little merit and does not awaken, the protective deities will gradually leave. Karmic affinity is based on the level of debt in this life, attracting or guiding more protective deities. For example, some people face many difficulties in life but persistently do good, gradually accumulating merit and easily attracting the attention of deities protected by heaven and earth and ancestors. Recruiting protective deities can also be done through making offerings and praying for oneself and the protective deities. When you form a connection with deities through cultivation, protective deities will become an important force in protecting your path of cultivation. However, this also depends on whether your cultivation is genuine. If in this life we strive to cultivate, we will have more protective deities following and protecting us. Conversely, if we do evil, the protective deities will gradually leave. So how can we protect our protective deities? First, take refuge in the 3 jewels and observe the 5 precepts. One way to increase protective deities is to take refuge in the 3 jewels. If you want to be stricter with yourself, you can also observe the 5 precepts. The Buddhist scriptures say that when a Buddhist takes refuge in the 3 jewels, they will be protected by 36 heavenly generals. And if they observe the 5 precepts, they will be protected day and night by 25 great bodhisattvas. Therefore, when we take refuge in the 3 jewels with the vow to take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, or when we observe the 5 precepts, we are giving ourselves a precious and rare gift. These gifts will follow us throughout our journey of rebirth and always be by our side to protect us. Additionally, practice the 10 good deeds and avoid the 10 evil deeds. For those who are not yet ready to take refuge, they can choose the second method of practicing the 10 good deeds and avoiding the 10 evil deeds. The 10 good deeds and 10 evil deeds are related to our actions, speech, and thoughts. Not committing the 10 evil deeds is practicing the 10 good deeds. A person's behavior can be divided into 3 categories. Do not kill, do not steal, do not engage in sexual misconduct. Speech can be divided into 4 categories. Do not lie, do not speak harshly, do not speak divisively, do not engage in idle talk. Thoughts can be divided into 3 categories. Do not be greedy, do not be angry, do not hold wrong views. In the morning, you should restrain yourself in 3 aspects, especially on the days of the lunar month, to reflect on yourself. Although we know that we should practice the 10 good deeds and avoid the 10 evil deeds, as the Earth Store Sutra says, sentient beings are always burdened with karma. Every action, thought, can be evil, can be a sin. Especially when bad habits like killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, lying, have been deeply ingrained for generations. These habits can easily lead us to unintentionally commit sins like stealing, lying, etc. If we do not regularly remind ourselves, the protective deities and benevolent spirits will gradually leave. Therefore, Many scriptures record that every month on the 1st, 8th, 14th, 15th, 23rd, 29th, and 30th days of the lunar month, the deities and their families will come to inspect the human realm, observe the good and evil of sentient beings, and determine the severity. If we can reflect on ourselves on these days, recognize our mistakes, sincerely repent, and maintain this habit on other days besides the lunar month, the protective deities protecting us will increase. Therefore, instead of praying to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas or the protective deities to protect us, we should examine ourselves and protect our protective deities. Those who help themselves will receive divine assistance. As long as you have good thoughts for others, the protective deities will always be by your side. If a person behaves kindly, even if they do not pray often, they will still be protected. Buddhism believes that the place where protective deities reside is within our body and mind. If we have a pure heart and act in accordance with the Dharma, the protective deities will be pleased. Therefore, we should eliminate greed, anger, and ignorance, and when we offer virtuous deeds, the protective deities will surely protect us forever. Some people ask, if I don't offer an apple to the protective deity today, will they be angry and stop helping me? If I have to go out and can't make offerings, will the protective deities punish me? Definitely not. Protective deities are not like humans, they do not have jealousy. If you are close, you make offerings every day. If you occasionally don't, they won't turn their backs. In fact, a little drink or an apple is enough. If you have it, it's a connection. If you don't, it's fine. As long as you have the intention to offer, any protective deity will follow you. Master Thu Kat Phong Tu, a famous Tibetan Buddhist practitioner, once said that as long as you have the intention to benefit sentient beings, you do not need to chant mantras. The protective deities will naturally come because they have promised to help wherever there is a desire to help sentient beings. As long as we have a pure heart and mind, think good thoughts, the protective deities will strongly assist us. Successful people we often see are very humble, careful in every gesture. They speak slowly, act calmly, and have a peaceful and composed demeanor. These things bring a sense of tranquility and peace to those around them. On the other hand, people with difficult lives, unstable destinies, and many ups and downs are often impatient, easily angered, with tense and frowning expressions. Experienced people understand that when someone encounters misfortune or risk, they will show abnormal behavior, sometimes panicking, restless, or anxious and acting impulsively. In fact, it is this panic and restlessness that leads them to disaster. To live peacefully, avoid misfortune, and receive luck, each person needs to maintain a state of calm and peace. When in a calm and peaceful state, there will be protective deities to protect you. Because only in this state can people not develop excessive greed, not be harmed by greed, anger, and ignorance. With the protection of protective deities, evil spirits will not be able to disturb or influence them. In fact, everyone has protective deities. As mentioned, those who act improperly, with evil behavior, will gradually lose their protective deities. Except for such cases, everyone has protective deities to protect them. If you have protective deities, your strength will be immense. If not, your strength will be very weak, or almost non-existent. With the protection of protective deities, everything will be complete and as you wish. Without the protection of protective deities, everything will be incomplete and not as you wish. People without the protection of protective deities will easily fail and not succeed. In society, even though many people try to help and try all kinds of ways, in the end they still cannot achieve their wishes. Many people work hard all their lives, but in the end they are disappointed and unsuccessful. That is because they lack the protection of guardian gods. Some great virtues and eminent monks, although they do not fight for worldly benefits, nor do they try hard to seek, but everything still comes naturally to them, and they easily achieve what they want. That is because they have merit and are protected by guardian gods. There are also many stories and legends about fairies circulating among the people, although the truth is not clear, but since ancient times, fairies have held a very high position in people's hearts. The legends also show that fairies also descend to earth. If they meet people with kind hearts, they will be helped and protected by fairies. In modern life today, do these stories still exist? Many people who are curious about the occult have had discussions, and they have actually encountered phenomena that are difficult to explain. The following are the characteristics of ordinary people who are protected by gods. Life often encounters situations that can only be understood by the person themselves, and are difficult to describe in words. People who have this experience often have strong faith in gods. Although their appearance is ordinary, they have an outstanding temperament, which easily creates a special impression. People often pay a lot of attention to their appearance, because having a beautiful appearance will easily attract attention and give them more opportunities in life. However, that is not all. A good temperament is also very important. When evaluating the appearance of others, it is often divided into three categories: beautiful, ordinary, and ugly. But there is a type of person whose facial features are ordinary, but whose temperament is very outstanding, with a rich spirit, making an impression on others. Such people often have something special, have hidden power, are protected by gods, so they are so different. Some people are especially lucky, have encountered many disasters but still not shaken. In life, everyone has to go through more or less difficulties, but each person has a different outcome when facing these obstacles. Some people are easily defeated by challenges and cannot avoid failure. But on the contrary, there are people who often avoid major accidents. Even when encountering dangerous situations, they can overcome them, and not just once or twice. Sometimes, those lucky experiences are difficult to explain by common sense, and the only explanation is probably that gods protect them. There are people who are always attracted to and research about gods. In modern society, many young people do not believe in the existence of gods, but there is still a small group who feel curious about these spiritual things. They often ignore work and life, read spiritual books, and some even start to learn about the path of island cultivation. They are also very interested in and admire people who live in Buddhism or Taoism. Although their actions are sometimes difficult to understand, on the contrary, this shows that they have a predestined relationship with being protected and guided by the gods. Some people always feel that there is someone around them, sometimes even feel that someone is talking to them. Many people have experienced inexplicable phenomena such as sleep paralysis. However, there are people who, even when awake, still feel that someone is talking to them, and their need to express themselves also becomes strong. Sometimes they even say things that others do not understand. These things, although they seem strange or scary to outsiders, reflect that there is truly a divine presence beside them. Those who are protected by the gods when they have the above signs will not feel fear or doubt, but on the contrary, they will be very calm. Even when they go to difficult places, they are still very calm. Moreover, their spirit is always abundant, full of vitality. When they are old, they even have a pioneering spirit, and all their life they will have good fortune with a clear path of advancement and achievement.